Hi there, Scorpio. Welcome to your end of February 2024 General Tarot Update. It's Raina here. I was wondering when I was going to pick that card. I hadn't picked that card in a long time. Ooh, you got a romantic one for sure. Okay, I'm going to pick an additional card. Okay, wow. All right. By the way, I just found out that I'm a 29-degree Scorpio in Vedic astrology, and I'm like thinking to myself, well, that explains a lot. Sometimes I don't feel like the typical Sag. Sometimes I do, but sometimes I don't. It feels like I feel like a lot more intense, but my sun is in the 8th house in Sagittarius, so maybe that's it. And my moon is in conjunction with Pluto. So there you go. The heart of the matter is the Empress card, and this is a card you can see like she's pregnant. But this deck, which is called the Light Seer deck, Light Seer Tarot, to me, it looks like a globe. So to me, I mean, well, there's probably like a baby there too, but it's not just for expectant mothers. I mean, you could be a man too. And of course, if you're a man, even though you're not carrying the child, you could be expecting a child. So that is one possible thing that's happening, but it can also be somebody who's an artist. This is a card of creativity. However, whatever form that takes, whether it has to do with being creative with human life, or whether it's poetry or writing, writing a novel or music. And it's also a card of love. It's actually connected to Venus. So the two signs that are ruled by Venus are Taurus and Libra. In the past position, we have the Lovers card. So yeah, these two cards definitely go, all three of those cards are relationship related cards. A lot of people, they see the nakedness and they think, wow, that's hot and heavy. Well, yeah, it could be. It could be physical intimacy. It could be that kind of vibe, consummating a relationship if you've been just dating and things like that. But ultimately, it's about intimacy at the deepest level. I mean, let's face it, you can have a one-night stand and have sex, but are you really intimate with that person at a deeper level? Because animals can have sex. It's not like it's some kind of like major accomplishment. But it is a major accomplishment to trust another person with some of the things that make you feel vulnerable. And Scorpios don't like to feel vulnerable, the typical Scorpio. You may do everything in your power to look invulnerable to other people. So it's like a very major event when a Scorpio person is able to do that. Now, this could be like an unplanned pregnancy, I suppose. Like, you got into this very passionate situation and it led you to get pregnant. But it might even be, there might be some Scorpios out there who have been resisting committing to someone. Those of you who are familiar with Joni Mitchell's work, and I forget what album that was, but in the early 70s. And I found it, because she's a Scorpio and she has water, sun, moon, and rising, but she has Venus in Sagittarius. And she really, if you listen to the song Cactus Tree, which is one of my favorite songs ever, she, talks about these different men. So, and she has a line, while she was busy being free. And that's kind of like what some Scorpios who have Venus and Sagittarius, like she does, may feel like your freedom is something that you do not want to let go of. So, this may be a big deal for you, and it might be because you want to become a mother. And by the way, it doesn't have to be biological. Maybe you have fallen in love with somebody who has a child already, and you just have those urges to nurture that child. The higher message is the Two of Cups. This is a card of reuniting with someone, but it's also a card of commitment. And what's interesting as well is that the Two of Cups can be a card of forgiveness. And quite frankly, I often think that to be able to commit to somebody means that you're able to forgive. Because forgiveness is something that can lead to lack of trust in everybody that you come across because you're so afraid of being hurt. Woundedness is real, and it's not something that you can just snap your finger and kind of get over. It's something that is what it is. And for some people, they may feel like, oh, wow, I want to be that person who is the bigger person, but I don't know where to start. I don't know how to get there. And how you get there is by, seeing yourself as safe, that there's nothing anybody can do to you that's going to lead to, even if somebody did betray you when you had given them your loyalty, or if they told other people what you had told them in private, that is not going to do you in. That's not, there's a saying, you're only as sick as your secrets. So there might be something that is kind of holding you back from really allowing love in. And sometimes it is that you have to forgive. And it doesn't mean forget. It means see the child of God in whoever trespassed against you. What crosses you is the Nine of Swords. This is kind of a continuation of what I'm talking about here, is anxiety. And this, it's interesting because Buddha had the Four Noble Truths. And one of them, or I don't know if that's the same thing, but talked about the four causes of suffering. And one of them is not getting what you want, but another one is getting what you want. Because there can be sometimes nothing more triggering than getting what you want. It can cause you to question everything that you've ever thought about a certain issue. The type of conclusion that you reached about something in your life, where you just assumed that was how it was. And then someone came along that kind of threw that up in the air, and it can be very confusing. You know what I mean? So it's very important that if someone feels anxiety, that they realize that this is possibly due to getting an upgrade in your life, meaning that things are changing, they're moving, and it can feel uncomfortable if you're used to that comfort zone and you don't like what what it means. You may feel like, I don't like this feeling that I'm getting here. I'm not used to this. And it could be, I'm not used to somebody being nice to me. As sad as that is, it could be true. there must be a catch here. This person is probably sadistic, and they're going to, you know, I'm going to just like fall in love with them, and then they're going to start acting like, um, abusive. They're going to, say bad things to me, and here I am giving my heart to them and having it trampled over again. No, you have to be brave in love. But you have to be, discerning, obviously, and give your heart to somebody who is showing themselves worthy of that level of involvement in your life. What is coming in is a Hierophant. This actually is a card. One of the interpretations of this is marriage. So, it's so funny because I'm not married, but I've been with my partner for decades. But I've always thought it was strange when people who are parents, it's like they get freaked out about the idea of marriage, and so many people, they describe their partner as their fiance, and I'm always like, well, why even bother? I mean, so you really want to give this appearance that you're going to get married, but you still haven't gotten married. So what's up with that? Why are you not getting married? When you made the biggest commitment ever, which is birthing a child, there's nothing more of a commitment than that. Having a marriage, I mean, getting divorced is like par for the course these days. So what is the fear? It's like you're more afraid of getting married than birthing a child. I just find that hard to wrap my brain around, quite frankly. And also this need for the appearance of like, oh, well, this is my fiance. It's like, no, they're not. You would have gotten married by now. I mean, if it's something that's like an ongoing thing, and that's what I'm talking about. But anyway, I don't want to get caught up in that. But the Hierophant is like traditional. And I always see Scorpio as a traditional sign, but there is a wild card energy with Scorpio because, let's face it, you have a double rulership. So sometimes that can not be necessarily on the same page. But in this case, it is kind of, because Mars and Pluto are not warm and fuzzy. So in that sense, they have that in common. So anyway, I do think that some Scorpio people, if they have a bad experience, I feel like they can be prejudiced, where they just say, okay, this is how it is with this type of person, or this type of situation, where you can just be prejudiced towards it altogether. And this is because you're a fixed water sign. So your emotions become very, very fossilized, I would call it. And it becomes very difficult for you to just kind of transcend that and say, you know what? Just because I experienced this in the past with a different person doesn't mean that I'm going to experience it again. Or even if I experienced it 2 times or 3 times, I'm different now. We're always changing, whether we know it or not. And it's also connected to Taurus, but I feel that it seems more aligned to Sagittarius. So it could be like, if you are somebody who, with the lover's card, what if you're having an affair? Now that to me would be an atypical Scorpio, unless you have like the moon in Gemini or Libra, and you're just very much, you're either easily bored, or you're just fickle, or you're, addicted to romance. The typical Scorpio will not cheat on their partner, but there might be exceptions to the rule. And so that card might be also like, okay, it's going to be the Taurus person that you end up with. And the outcome is the 2 of Wands. Yeah. So it is that idea of having to make a decision about something. It might even be whether or not to stay put where you are or to leave. So maybe if you met somebody abroad and you have been maintaining some connection with them, but you're not sure. Maybe it was on a business trip and it was like you're involved with somebody and you weren't really supposed to be doing something, but you did it anyway. And now you're like, okay, what should I do? The clarification card I got is the Six of Wands. This is a card of success. This is a card connected to Leo. And you see the person is in the spotlight. So also, I haven't really been talking too much about, like job or career related stuff, but both, the wands are connected to fire energy and careers. And the Empress could be something that is either like if you're pregnant or you want to be pregnant and yet you are like, but I don't want to stop working or I don't want to lose my momentum in my career, then that could be a dilemma. And also creativity. If you are an artist at heart and you have been doing something else, the Lover's card can be a choice that you have to make. And, certainly there have been two cards. So you might be very much at the horns of a dilemma, like what, at a crossroads right now, Scorpio. What do I do? Where do I go? Well, let me just say that on March 25th, there's going to be a lunar eclipse at 5 degrees of Libra. This is in your 12th house, so it may give you spiritual guidance in the form of a dream or some other download, and that may kind of tip the scales in one direction or the other. All right, that's what I have for you, Scorpio. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, I'm an astrologer as well. Please check out my offerings. I'm at rainamoonAstrology.com, and the link is below. Take care. Bye.